To approve the agenda. Do we have any additions or subtractions to the agenda? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. The minutes of the June 28th meeting are found in your packets. Seek motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Yes.
I'll second.
Who's first?
I make the motion to,
Okay.
And on the agenda,
yes.
one and second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. All right. We first would like to welcome our 3 new members that are present here at this meeting. They were all confirmed by the Senate in June. It's wonderful to have you aboard. We almost have a full slate of board members at this point, so it's welcome and really excited about this. I'm going to introduce each of you. So Michael Crichon, he's the Albany County rep. He has an all-state insurance company up in Saratoga Springs, and welcome. Glad to have you on board. Jamie Lahat joins us from Schenectady County. He is in charge of the Metroplex, the executive director, and we're wonderful to have you aboard. Thank you. I mean, he's worked with us on projects, so it's a great transition. Jacqueline Mancini, she's also Schenectady County, and she's the Director of Human Resources for Schenectady County. Thank you for joining. We look forward to everything we have to accomplish in the upcoming years. So let's go on to one of my favorite parts of the meeting is recognizing our employees for their wonderful years of service and all that you have accomplished. It never ceases to amaze me, the dedication that our staff has. Mr. James Sweeney. We have read your accomplishments.
That's my nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not your nature, the whole room is quiet. Jim's been with us for 20 years, so he's celebrating his 20-year anniversary. He joined us in 1997 as a part-time operator in STAR. Back then, everyone who entered as a bus operator started as a part-time operator, usually working weekends, holidays, like everything that, all the bad stuff that no one else wanted. Over time, we've modified that. We still have a few part-timers, but for the most part, it's now a full-time workforce. Before joining us, Jim, was an operator for Yankee Trails, but he was with a private company, Yankee Trails, and after several friends who worked here suggested that he might want to look to CDTA, he did. He checked us out, he liked what he saw, and he came aboard. He also wanted to stay local, wanted to stay with what he thought was a stable company and a place where he could be comfortable. Jim says the best thing about his job, and I should mention that he started in STAR, stayed in STAR, and has worked in STAR for 20 years. That's unusual. We have some people who stay in STAR, but for the most part they move to different areas of the operation. So Jim is somewhat unique in his love of STAR and love for STAR customers, and there's a few of them here today. And I know my good friend Mr. Ed Rich can attest to Jim's skill as a STAR operator. And Jim truly loves what he does, and he loves his customers, and says he decided to stay at CDTA because it's a family environment, and he really likes the people who work here and the people that we get to serve. He's very appreciative of the Sunshine Club, who reached out to Jim when he had a family issue, and I think that's the story of CDTA. We try to sort of rally around each other and do things when people need them. In his free time, Jim enjoys church activities, watching movies, don't we all, and reading. I'm sure you're not reading paddles or root instructions, anything but on his time off. Jamie Watson does a little interview to assemble these sheets, and she asked if retirement was anywhere near for Jim. Jim said, nothing planned. He's a fine, upstanding guy, straightforward. What you see is what you get. And in my mind, this is the kind of guy that you want representing CDTA. So 20 years of service, Jim Sweeney. Jim, what is this that you picked for your gift?
That's a Kindle.
It's a Kindle. Thanks.
Yeah.
Obvious that I haven't used one of those. There's the staff and the employees who say that I can't read. What do they know? Jim, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Jim Sweeney.
We can move into our committee reports. First one will be performance oversight, and Mr. Sperano will be giving the report.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
You're welcome.
We met here on July 10th at 12 o'clock, and our new members were introduced and welcomed, and two of them. Okay. Anyways, consent agenda items. We're entering into a lease for the Uncle Sam Transit Station, the CDTA bus stop in downtown Troy, served by 10 bus routes and some of the highest volume in the CDTA system. To improve the waiting and travel experience for our customers and attract new ridership, and improve conditions and driver indemnities. Excuse me. CDTA is partnering with the city of Troy to build a transit station adjacent to the Uncle Sam parking garage. There was quite a discussion about it. We tried to get our new members as much information as we could, but it's a little kind of confusing the way the traffic's going and things, but it's off to a good start, and hopefully we'll have news about the signed lease soon. This time we need a approval to execute a lease with the basic provisions outlined in the packet in preparation for such case. In the event the agreement is not reached within the next several weeks, I don't know if we need to discuss what's, we may have to enter into eminent domain if this lease isn't signed.
Just a little background. We've been talking to the landlord for quite some time. I think we have basic agreement on the concept, square footage, the rates, all that kind of thing. As with most projects, the last 10% is 90% of the work. We have not made a whole lot of progress on final execution of the lease. We have the power of eminent domain, rather not use it, but if we need to, we would do that as appropriate. What we wanted to do is get basic concept approval to move forward so that we're not reporting to you after the fact that we entered into a lease agreement. Pretty straightforward, simple resolution.
Yeah, because we've had the concept on the board for
We're basically ready to go.
3 months, so. But hopefully this will move on. So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion on resolution 48, 2017.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Okay. Now this was concerning our auto and general liability insurance renewal. This is boilerplate stuff. Auto and general liability insurance provides protections for claims and injuries and damage to people and property caused by the operations of our buses. Renewal is for 1 year our self-insurance retention will be maintained at $2 million. That's the money that we hold, it's our own money for the, I can't call them minor claims, but it saves us a lot of money not having to insure from zero. Let's see, coverage for $8 million with an additional $5 million in excess of coverage for claims. At this time, we need a motion to retain New Hampshire Insurance of New York and Scottsdale Indemnity of Scottsdale, Arizona, to provide auto and general liability insurance for 1 year at the cost of $418,000, effective August 27 to 17 to August 18. Have a motion?
Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor? Or actually, do we have discussion? Yes.
This one, just to note, it was relatively significant price increase. Everything that we could find was pretty much market driven. We were able to negotiate it down to our broker, we'll take Kieran, but it is still 20% more than last year.
There is very, very few companies willing to insure this, and it drives the market. Okay,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
All right, next is our auto physical damage renewal. Auto physical damage provides insurance for our vehicles in event of fire, theft, vandalism, collision, and natural perils. That comes from flood, I wonder, flood insurance just doesn't, nobody covers flood insurance today. One broker, Rosen Kieran, went to 40 markets for quotes and received only one quote. At this time, we need a motion to retain Lexington Insurance of Boston, Mass. To provide auto physical damage insurance beginning on August 27th, 17 to August 26th of 18 for $195,953. $195,953.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And
I'll second it.
thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Next is for our workman's compensation renewal, insurance renewal. It is what it says, it provides insurance for employees that are hurt. There's long-term costs of significant levels. It is a specialty market with a limited number of companies willing to provide coverage. First Niagara Management, our insurance broker, approached 6 markets. State National Insurance Company provided the most competitive quote while retaining our self-insurance retention at $700,000. It provides unlimited coverage beyond that. At this time, we need a motion to retain said insurance company to provide workers' compensation excess insurance for 1 year. The cost of $156,075, effective August 29, 17 to August 28, 18.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion on this motion?
I have a quick question for Carl on this. So your budget is approved earlier in the year, I'm not sure exactly, in April. And then you have these various activities that go on. So are you kind of just guessing in terms of budget? I mean, obviously you're seeing some increases that maybe were unexpected, but wouldn't you maybe restructure your insurance purchases so they sort of fit in with the budget cycle?
That's a good question. We've done that from time to time. Mike's handled insurances here at CPTA for a long time. Maybe you're probably best to answer that restructure question.
So we're actually looking at restructuring some of the auto and general liability part, and also our auto physical damage part. In the market arena anyways, in the fall seems to be a better time to do some of these larger insurances, just because based on the market and pricing. But we've never looked at actually trying to line up with our annual budget. What we do though is we do some reasonable estimates to see what we think will happen in the future. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. Usually we have a little cushion going into the annual budget year for insurance. However, this year, because of the rather large increase in auto and general liability, we're actually going to be over budget probably by about 10%.
Point well taken, though. We can talk to Brooks and Karen about that. I don't know the ramifications of shifting.
Yeah,
Might have a-
it's just interesting for
Might
the
have a
pro-
one-year
yeah, kind
adjustment.
of the process side of it, how it works, maybe historically, that's just the way we set it up.
We've been actually pretty lucky the last five. I guess you have to be good to be lucky. But over the last 5 years, it's been a minimal increase. So you're right, we've been spot on. But
Yeah.
when you have something that's unexpected like this, now we're going to be 10% over. Again, relative to the bigger picture on an $85 million budget, it's absorbable. Thanks.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Resolution 51 carries.
Okay, next is, we're getting something. We don't have to give. In 2016, Governor Cuomo announced approximately $98.7 million in awards to fund projects to support bicycle, pedestrian, multi-use path, and transportation-related projects. The CDTA, through a lot of hard work and paperwork, successfully secured $2 million in funding to support the Capital Region Bike Care Program. Jamie's been giving us all kinds of information, so we better ride these bikes, or she's gonna be very mad at us, so. But, DOT requires a board resolution to accept state funding prior to being reimbursed for expenses incurred as part of the agreement. At this time, we need a motion to accept $2 million in state funding with a 20% match requirement.
Looking for a motion to approve resolution 52. Motion. Wait a second.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Just will note that in all the years I've been working here, I've never seen a board member vote no.
Forgot the man that left.
I don't think he ever voted no, not on this.
He said he would, but he didn't.
He did.
I mentioned that, recognizing our employees is one of my favorite things about this board meetings, but I think accepting
Taking
money is
Yeah.
ranks up there as well. So, any more discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay,
And I hope everybody seriously has gotten Jamie's emails about the bike program.
Resolution 52, dash 2017 passes.
Okay, audit committee items. Internal audit monthly report. Carm provided the internal audit because Mike was,
No, Sarah, that's a whole nother
Oh.
issue.
I forget his name. And gave a summary of the internal audit function, and the committee accepted the report. The investment committee items. Update on the activities and the reports. Dave Stackrow gave a summary of the purpose of the investment committee, which included the mission, process, and investment strategy. The report was mailed out to existing committee members to the meeting and will be sent to new members this week.
Just note that, there are these committees where we all will often mention a report. All of those reports are either made available, emailed to you, mailed to you, and are discussed in committee, but at the board level, we just mentioned the fact that, they were reviewed. If you have questions, you might want to talk to the members who are on that committee or talk to the chair of the committee. Or one of us.
Especially in the investment committee stuff. I mean, the market's going up and down tenths of percents, and it's not really affecting our,
We're very limited in what we can invest in, mechanisms that we can use. Very.
Okay, administrative discussion items. The monthly management financial report. That's where my friend was. In the Bahamas when we did this. Management recorded tax, mortgage recorded tax was up 23% for the month, but down 7% for the year. Advertising is up 20% for the year due to CDPHP sponsorship of the bike share. Wages were down 1% for the month, and health benefits were down 5%. Parts were over budget. Vehicle parts were over budget by 10% due to various mid-size repairs. In the monthly, we are in a satisfactory cash flow position. Non-monthly financial report. Total ridership was down 1% for the month, 1% up for the year. Star ridership was up 5% and down 1% for the year. Just for our new board members, our star ridership has to increase because we're getting older. Maybe not some of you, but I find it harder to drive 6 miles a day. So, this is a big deal, and it's going to get to be a bigger deal. So, just to make people aware of that. Our on-time performance was 72%, and there were 4 missed PMIs, which amounts to 1/4% or something.
Not on time? What was it, 2% not on time? 2 or 3% not on time?
2%.
Yeah, it was 2%.
And that's preventive maintenance inspections, which are on a mile interval, 6,000 miles. And obviously, you want to do those inspections on a timely basis, follow the schedule, so that you can resolve any mechanical issues with the vehicle, or to anticipate based on the inspection what issues might have. So we track that very, very closely.
And what we're talking about missing is by a couple hundred miles. It's absolutely never any danger with the buses or anything like that. Scheduled work was 82%, and there were 19 preventable and 25 non-preventable accidents. 90% of the customers' complaints were closed in 10 days, and the web page views were 884,000. For the good of the order, there was no item scheduled in the executive session. Rick Fines stated there was nothing in your report, and that finishes my report, Mr. Chairman. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stern. Does anyone have any questions or comments about his report? Okay, we'll move on to Planning and Stakeholder Relations Committee, which I'll be giving. We met Thursday, July 20th at noon. Mr. Desney reviewed the Washington Western BRT project. The project calls for a service between downtown Albany and Crossgates Mall along Washington and Western Avenues in Albany and Guilderland. The route is 8 miles long, will include 16 stations and operate 7 days a week. Improvements include an exclusive busway between the Harriman Office campus and the University of Albany, Q-jump lanes, transit signal priority, and a transit center at Crossgates Mall, which is our busiest stop currently. A conceptual design study concluded that BRT will be a cost-effective investment in the corridor. An alternative analysis was adopted by the board in 2013, which developed routing and station locations and service plans. In 2014, the Capital District Transportation Committee endorsed the preferred alternative, and the project was accepted into project development by the Federal Transit Administration. We're advancing project developments through FTA's Small Starts program. Small Starts is specifically designed for BRTs. The next step in the process is to complete a project rating application, which is due to the FTA in September. The application consists of detailed project information, a project justification, and also a financial plan. A resolution of the Board of Directors stating its support for the project is also required for this package. At this time, the committee recommends adoption of a resolution to support the progression of the Washington Western Bus Rapid Transit Project through the FTA's Small Starts program. The committee also recommends that the resolution directs the CEO and staff to submit a project rating package to the FTA in September 2017. That's found in page 39 of your packet.
Can you tell me two words what a project rating package consists of?
It's like handing in your test, and they're gonna grade the test.
As we talked in planning, these federal, basically federal grant programs require a very structured submission process. This is actually very important because until a project is rated and rated successfully, let's call it a C+, B rating at least, there is nothing for our congressional representatives to latch onto when it comes time to fund those projects. So we need to have it rated. Once it's rated, it is eligible to be funded in the subsequent year or year's budget. So it's an important submission. And I think Chris is right in a couple of words or less. It really is like your 50-question exam. That's how your project is going to be graded. And other projects around the country are being submitted and graded. So if someone gets a medium high and we get a medium, obviously that project has a higher rating. Doesn't mean that ours can't be funded, but we want to be rated as highly as possible. I think we explained that the River Corridor project, north-south between Albany and Troy, was rated a few months ago, and it was rated a medium, which is actually quite good, and is now it's now eligible to be funded. Funding is a whole other issue because these are funded in an incremental way, with funding coming in from this direction and funding coming in from that direction. And we advance these projects incrementally as best we can. So you're likely to be hearing about BRT projects for about 2 or 3 years. So it will seem like a long drawn-out process, and it is. I apologize for that, but
Is it the same process that the Central Avenue BRT?
same exact process. That was
What
about
the
a 5
duration
year,
from
about
planning,
5 years.
planning, design to implementation, 5
At
years?
least 5 years. It felt longer.
I think I described this resolution as where the board is giving the blessing for staff to dedicate more time and energy to this project, and we realize its importance.
Even if we say get a high rating, that doesn't guarantee funding.
No, it never guarantees funding, which I'd say is somewhat of a flawed system. But we don't make the rules. We follow. And unfortunately, this is one where if you don't follow the rules exactly and miss a step, you sort of go back to square one. So we are very, very careful.
Mr. Schaefer?
That the success of the Central Avenue project is a good precedent. Have there been discussions with our Congress members and senators about supporting this?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what's their attitude?
Well, again, each person is different, but I can tell you that Senator Schumer is a tremendous proponent of BRT, and the rest of the congressional delegation is also supportive. But it's nice to have the senator be a proponent of the concept. And I should point out, we are operating the only bus rapid transit system in upstate. And as far as we know, we're the only submitter. So I think in that case, it's good to be different.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution 53, 2017 passes. Move on with my report. Jonathan Scherzer presented a summary of the updated monthly onboard reporting evaluation survey program for the regular route customers. The survey covers 30 metrics and provides CDTA with market, demographic, and planning information. The most recent issues show that more than 90% of our customers are satisfied with CDTA service. Roughly 70% of trips are taking customers to and from work, and 20% of new customers ride as part of our universal access program. These numbers look wonderful. About 6 months ago, we added an online method for information to be gathered. The report provides a profile of customers and highlights their rankings of several categories. This information is used to enhance our decision-making process. The next meeting will be noon, September 21st, here in this office. Do you have any questions or comments about this report before we move on?
Just wanted to point out that we don't do those surveys ourselves. CDTA people aren't on buses or we contract that out to a professional.
We are going to move on to governance committee meeting. We met Thursday, July 20th, here in this board room. Lisa Morello provided an update on the advocacy activities. She advised that the legislature met to discuss New York City mayoral candidate control issue and upstate tax consequences. They adjourned on June 29th. Lisa and Carm have discussed upstate transit funding and any upcoming MTA deliberations. She and her team will continue to engage elected officials on this issue. She also advised that CDTA has an active and dedicated group of local elected officials. Their tour of our facilities was very well received, and they are still talking about it on social media. It was a terrific opportunity for our organization to showcase all the great things that are happening here at CDTA. Lisa advised that the next step this summer will be to encourage Governor Cuomo's executive staff, and her team will schedule appropriate meetings. Carmen Lisa also talked about the Office of General Services contract that will expire in about a year. OGS offers a network of transportation services to link park and ride lots with the office buildings. The next meeting of this committee is scheduled for Thursday, September 21st at 11:30 a.m. here in this building. Do I have any questions or comments about this report? Okay. Moving on to Mr. Bazil to give the CEO report.
Thank you, Georgie. My report is in your packet. I develop this every month with a lot of input from the staff. It's intended to be a report on the activities of the organization, what's happening or what has happened, with a little bit of a look forward. There's a long list of meetings that either I attend or we attend in the community. It's not meant to be a checklist on where I am, just to give you a flavor of what we are involved in, especially because we devote so much time to building relationships in the community. It used to be, when I was a younger guy here at CDTA, that the summer was sort of a slow period. Not the case anymore. In fact, it just appears that we have more activities than we know how to handle at the present time. But the staff, I think, is doing a great job in coordinating everything, keeping us on the right track. And the next week or two are going to be particularly filled with activity. Tomorrow we will cut the ribbon on the regional bike sharing program called CDPHP Cycles. They are the title sponsor. Think of it like the Times Union Center in downtown Albany. Albany County runs the building, but the Times Union Center has the naming rights to the building, tickets, ad advertising and things of that nature. They're proving to be a tremendous partner, probably one of the most recognizable organizations in the community with a lot of marketing and promotional power, and that's why we wanted to be affiliated with them, and obviously the health benefits that are tied to bicycling. So tomorrow on the Scotland Avenue side of Washington Park, 10 a.m. If you can be there, that'd be great. But we'll cut the ribbon with Dr. John Bennett, the CEO of CPHP. Right now we have about 40 stations spread throughout our region. So it might look 160 bikes, it might look just a tad diluted, but phase 2 will add another 20 or 30 stations and bring us over 300 bicycles. And I think then you'll see really a critical mass. And we'll move into phase 2 a little quicker than we had anticipated, thanks to the $2 million grant that we just accepted. That will cover operating costs for the better part of a couple of years. So a new program for us, a new mobility option for us to offer to people. And there's a different kind of a buzz and excitement about it in the community. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it definitely feels different. Tune in. It's a growth opportunity for us, and we're really happy about it. On Friday, we will make a major announcement to our employees that will highlight the great work that they do. I know, and validate the work of the board over the last several years. We've kind of kept this under wraps. I'm going to continue to keep it under wraps. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the major announcement will be to our employees. It will be followed by a public announcement in the next week or so. Jamie will be providing you with details on that. Where is it going to be, and what it will entail. But I think it's going to talk about our efforts to expand, our efforts to diversify, and our efforts to be more than a bus company. We've worked hard to do that. We've worked hard to make ourselves part of the regional economic development picture, to be at the economic development table before decisions are made rather than be called in after the fact and be asked to modify services or modify route structures. We've been very successful with that, and I think this announcement will validate that work. Georgie talked about meeting with state delegation. We had an open house here. Several of our members, Joe Sprana and Dave Stacker, were here. It was great to bring in our state elected delegation without a reason, just to say thank you. They often don't get thank you. They often get phone calls. Hey, we need your help. Well, they've been very helpful to us over the last several years, as evidenced by increases in state operating assistance and a 5-year capital plan. First time we've had a 5-year capital plan in upstate in my professional career. So we toured the facility, and basically we pointed to some of the things that we spent money on. And I think they were appreciative, they were informed, and we've had several follow-up questions since then. And some of the members who sent staff have requested a personalized meeting. And by the way, I skip over some of this stuff. If you need nighttime reading, this is the perfect report. But a couple of construction updates. Most of you know that we're in the middle of a major construction project at the Rensselaer Rail Station. We're replacing that top deck, which has failed, and there's a good amount of leakage there. We're in the process of fixing it. It's a multi-million-dollar project. A lot of disruption on the top deck, which also serves as the main entrance to the station. So there is a plan to move people to different locations and minimize disruption. So far, so good. We find that the customer base has been cooperative. The people that we do business with have been very cooperative. But it is messy, it's noisy, and it's disruptive. We hope to have a good amount of the work done this construction season. It will continue next construction season as well. The Washington Western BRT that we just talked about, we talked about money coming in and parts of the project starting at different phases. Well, the Lark and Washington intersection, we're going to rebuild that intersection, and we're doing that in partnership with the city. Realign the travel lanes, the left turn movements, which are difficult at best right now. That intersection is, circa 1940 design with, 2017 traffic volumes and pedestrian crossings. It's a very difficult intersection with lots of pedestrian crossings. We're going to redesign the intersection, realign the intersection. We're going to move the major station that's been in front of the Washington Avenue Armory for years and years. Mike Rochon, you probably boarded buses there when you were in high school or maybe middle school. That's going to be relocated to the east in front of the Albany Library. That will help us to move in and out of traffic, I think, in a more seamless way. But real construction is about a week away. The signage is up. Some of the preliminary work is done. Hats off to our guys and gals, and they're working with the city of Albany, who is obviously a willing partner in that work. At the same time, there's infrastructure work, pedestrian infrastructure work, safety realignment, and sidewalk construction in Cohoes, Troy, and Lansingburg. That is all tied to the River Corridor BRT, and that comes from a separate federal program, Highway Safety Improvement money, that allows us to do that. So there are a lot of directions that you have to kind of follow these projects from, and money comes in from different angles. But all of this, regardless of BRT, is good for the transit system, it's good for the people who use buses, and good for the communities that we serve. So we're happy to get that underway and to get that completed. As far as the activity report, believe me, this is actually a short list. It sometimes goes on for quite some time, several pages, but just a couple of highlights. I entertained staff on 2 separate occasions from the NFTA in Buffalo and CMY Centro in Syracuse. Both of these young professionals are in the Public Transit Leadership Institute, which is sponsored by our state association. It's a year-long learning program where they spend time talking about the issues in our industry and ways that these issues are accommodated or problem solved in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, wherever they might be. They are also assigned to a CEO to talk several times throughout the year and to do a shadowing experience. We actually had more people this year in the program than normal. I volunteered to take on 2 usually. The CEOs assign 1 person. So I have 2 people I'm working with. They were here, and we just basically spent the day doing what it is I do and answering questions about what it is I do as we were on the fly. I can tell you that one of our staff people, deputy comptroller who works in Mike's office, Patricia Cooper, is in Syracuse today. She is in the program. She is shadowing Mike Lee, my counterpart in Syracuse. We've had probably 8 people go through the program, and the reports back, I'm looking around, off the top of my head, I don't recall if anybody in the room has been part of it, but the reports back are that it's great. It allows them to, if nothing else, form partnerships with people who do the job that they do in different systems, and it's always great to be able to pick up the phone or shoot an email. I'm struggling with, general liability insurance costs. What are you experiencing in Rochester? What are you experiencing in Syracuse? That's really at the base of the program what's intended to do. So I'm happy to be involved, and I'm happy that our professional staff takes advantage of that as well. On the 10th of July, we had another new class of bus operators start. It's a class of 18, one of our larger classes. They will be completed with their training probably about 3 or 4 weeks from now. When they are hitting the street, we will, I think, finally be at our budgeted headcount level. We've struggled to get there. It is a very tough hiring environment for those types of jobs at that salary level, and we have really been diligent in getting this done. Hats off to the people in HR who have really had nose to the grindstone. I don't know how many people it takes to get 18, but it's quite a few that you have to sift through to get 18 who can stick. There are a lot of requirements of our job, and we have to make sure that you follow those to get them in the door. But they were an impressive group of people. They had great questions on the first day. Sometimes it's very quiet, but this group was active and engaged. I just want to note there's 2 employees here that received their 30-year service awards. Not every employee wants to come to the board meeting. We encourage them to do that. We enjoy it. They, for the most part, they enjoy it. And I know all of you enjoy hearing about what I call our real success stories, but some people just don't want to do it. They would rather just quietly be given the reward. Mike Bruno is one of those people. He received the 30-year service award. Mike is he's responsible for our fare collection systems and really has been actively involved in the development of our prepayment program. We call it Navigator. And Chris Hike also received this 30-year award. Chris Hike works in our paint and body shop. For new members, we may not have pointed out, we basically do everything ourselves. Out back to the right, when we do a tour, we'll show it is I hasten to say world class, but top of the line paint and body shop. And Chris has worked in the paint and body shop for quite some time. He's in the maintenance department. He's a certified master technician with all the credentials. So I just wanted to point out, if you wonder why some people come, don't come. Personal decision, we don't force anybody to do it. And some people would rather not. A lot of board meetings. I'm on a number of boards, probably too many, but I believe that it's necessary and beneficial to be part of the community. And I can tell you that the people who sit around the room are also active, whether they be on boards, whether they be, I'm looking at a couple of Little League coaches, I'm looking at, a number of people who volunteer, a lot of people who are active in their church community. We encourage it. We have a program that rewards it. We think it's part of CDTA and who we are. So if you're wondering why Equinox, Colony Senior Services, Christian Brothers Academy, and on and on and on are there, that's why. But I too wanted to welcome Jamie, Jackie, and Mike. We're really glad to have you. This is a great board of directors that provides vision for the company, is appreciative of the work that goes on, are all approachable, and at least early indications are that so are you three. I think you're going to fit right in here with this group. Anything we can do to make you comfortable, there is no question that's too small, too silly. Don't be embarrassed. We've all been there. This is a business that is full of acronyms, confusing information. So if there's anything we can do, working on orientation programs for each of you, we can tailor them to your needs, to your schedule. Our staff is available. The organization operates about 22 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's, if you need to do something on a Saturday, we can make that happen. So welcome and thank you for your service. It's most appreciated.
We've even had board members that pound the table occasionally.
I know a few of those, yes. Most appreciated.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Gazilla?
How come we're so formal today?
Thank you, John. We have nothing for executive session. We're going to be order. And any announcements? We are not meeting in September as it stands right now, but we do have a placeholder in August. So our next meeting is scheduled for September 27th. And then the next two after that are October 25th and November 29th. I seek motion to adjourn.
So,
Second, Mr. Schaefer, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So adjourned.